Hello everybody, welcome back to another Heft Leather and Saddlery video. I've been wanting to make this video for a while. It's probably the most important video I'll ever put up here, but I figured while my thumb is healing, now would be a good time to kind of lay this out. This is the story of Heft Leather and Saddlery, which is kind of in a sense a story of me. So how did I end up where I am now, and what got me here? So to back it way up, I was homeschooled as a kid. I grew up homeschooled all the way from the very beginning all the way through high school. Never set foot in a public or private school setting. I'm very grateful for that. It definitely was very formative of everything from the rest of my life. And being homeschooled, one of the best parts, if not the best part, is you have so much freedom to kind of choose what you want to learn. Obviously, you still have to learn all those important things like math and social studies and science and history and everything. But I was able to pick my favorite as well and kind of go into deep dive focus on that. And my favorite by far is history. Love history, any history. My favorite was growing up was the Revolutionary War, the American Revolution, followed very closely by the Revolutionary War and U.S. history in general, and basically any history having to do with horses, which, if you know the role horses have played in history, it's basically all of it. So I have notes here, by the way. That's why I keep looking down. But for me, horses is also a funny and a long story that could probably be its own separate video. But horses, the equestrian industry, is a passion and a calling of mine. I believe it's from God. I know it's from God. So after begging my parents, I started riding when I was 7 years old. And from very early on there, obviously with horses, there's a lot of leather involved, with the saddles and the tack and everything. And when I look at it now, that I think about it too, with history, there's a lot of leather involved in history too. Yeah, horses played a huge role, do play a huge role in my life. And so that kind of leads me to, through my horse journey, riding at different barns. I eventually ended up at one where I made some friends, and those friends, for that barn, we got together and we decided we were going to do a Renaissance fair, which, if you know me in history, was right up my alley. It never ended up coming into fruition, but it got me excited, got me thinking, and I ended up making these wooden swords. I have mine here. Making wooden swords for me and a couple of my friends. There's 4 of them in total, and that got me interested into making things. I wouldn't consider myself a tradesman of anything at the time. I mean, maybe this is an impressive woodworking project, but I never considered myself a woodworker at all. But I was into making things, and so I got on YouTube one day and I was looking around at my brand new algorithm that was filled with making different things, whether it be blacksmithing or woodworking or whatever, and I found a tutorial, which I will link in the description because it's amazing. It's a tutorial by Skilltree. I'll name drop his channel, on making a pair of leather bracers, which is forearm armor, and I was hooked immediately. I was like, I want to do this. This looks so cool. At the time, I was not thinking I want to do this as in this is going to be my craft. I'm going to do just this. But I was like, I want to do that. So I asked for a leatherworking kit for Christmas that year, which was a long wait. I had to wait. I found this video like in the springtime, and I waited all the way till Christmas. And I got a leatherworking kit for Christmas, and I got started immediately. The first thing I made First thing I practiced on was this little guy right here. This is a horse carving that I did. Looks pretty awful, but it was better than I expected for my first try. The first completed projects I made were belts and frogs for those swords that I had made. So I made 4 sword belts and 4 little frogs that you could carry on your waist, so you could carry your sword. So made those. My first sale, first thing I sold out of leather was in November of 2022. So I sold a little clutch wallet, just kind of, you know, somebody wanted one and was willing to pay me for it, so I sold it. And then I did my first ever like little craft fair in February of 2023. It was a Valentine's Day craft fair event thing at Safe Haven Rescue. So the friends I was talking about before that I made these swords for, they ended up, and I went with them, leaving the barn that we met each other at, and two of them are sisters. Them and their family, they moved to a new place, big huge property, started a farm there, and started a horse rescue, which I am now very fortunate to be on the board of directors from. And the way this whole story goes is basically my business is because of that family. So you know who you are, thank you. But my first little craft fair was there. I remember being asked, "Oh, do you have business cards?" And I was like, "Nope." I wasn't even, like, I didn't even have a brand name. It was just me. I wasn't thinking in terms of a business so much yet. But I did pretty good that day. Made about $60 after I gave my very generous donation to the rescue for letting me go there and set up. But started making more things, selling a couple more things here and there, and then I was like, all right, this is becoming a thing. I want to pursue this as a business. So in June 23rd, 2023 is Heft Leather and Saddlery's birthday. So it was another craft fair, this time in the summer at Safe Haven Rescue, and I bought about $300 worth of leather and tools on top of what I had already bought and gotten in that Christmas kit and everything as kind of my startup money, and officially split it financially. There was my money and there was the business money, which I had no idea how to handle. And I was officially in business as not Heft Leather and Saddlery, but as Bradley Mountain Leather. And the reason for the name switch is because I found another business in, I believe, Tennessee or North Carolina or something. And their name is Bradley Mountain. That's their business name, and they make leather goods. So, and they trademarked the name. So I had to let that go. The reason for my Bradley Mountain Leather is I live in Connecticut. I live very close to Bradley Mountain, which is the same name as like Bradley International Airport. So that was the name. It was a cool name, but I think I like Heft Leather and Saddlery better. I like the and saddlery part on it. But that was where I started, June 23rd, 2023. I officially registered as a sole proprietor, I think in January of 2024, but I can't really remember. But at some point down the line, it became an official business, and I then had to pay sales tax and all these fun things. But it felt cool to me, and that's kind of my origin story. The other main points on it are I moved into Market Street Creatives up in Torrington. That's one of my storefronts. I found them in November of 2024, and they officially opened in July of 2025. Shortly thereafter, I discovered the Berlin kiosks in Berlin, Connecticut, right across from where I worked and very close to where I buy all my leather from. That's another gift shop in Berlin, and they were opening same thing as Market Street Creatives, handmade goods. So I moved in there in kind of like August of 2025. They had their grand opening, I think August 15th this past year. So that kind of brings you guys up to speed on where I am today with my business, where I've got those two locations. I got my website and everything. My business was and still is built off of custom orders. That's kind of been my thing this whole time. I love doing it, mostly. But I like doing the storefronts as well. So that is kind of how I got started. That's the origin story, I guess. But I want to talk too about the inspiration for Heft Leather and Saddlery as a brand, not just as a business. So, like I said before, I was homeschooled, grew up on stories, grew up on history. I would say my main drivers of my brand, or my branding, I guess, would be The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, best fictional book series ever written, best books second only to the Bible. History, like I said before, love history, grew up on history, all that fun stuff. horses, huge influence, bigger than anything else. And yeah, cowboys, knights, the spirit of adventure, going on noble quests and sunsets, and you know, like just, you know, an adventurous, peaceful, at the same time, a lifestyle. So that's what I'm aiming for in my life. That's what my business is trying to promote. And most of all, the gospel of Jesus Christ. So that's kind of where you get all of the brand aesthetics that I got here. And you'll notice that while I started with swords, and the first leatherworking video I saw was for armor and everything, I haven't left that, but I haven't really stayed in that either. My business took a huge shift very kind of early on towards Western style leather goods, for a couple of reasons. Number one, horses. Number two, nobody does that around here. So in Connecticut, you got tons of rent fairs. I work at one of them, or two of them, I should say. So I'm still in that, but there's no custom saddle makers in Connecticut other than myself. There's no real saddle, especially Western saddle repair in Connecticut, again, other than myself. There's some English saddle repairs, good for you guys, but yeah. So first off, I saw that need in the market, but also it's what I love. It set me apart from everybody else, and you know, when I have two things that I really enjoy, one of them is going to top the other one, and for me in this case, it was that Western lifestyle. So the goal for my business here is, this is not a hobby. Well, it is right now. It's a hobby business, but and a side hustle. But I don't want it to be a hobby or side hustle, and I'm not running it like one. The goal is for this to be a full-time enterprise. I want to build this business up to support myself and a future family, and you know, to eventually use this as a platform to jump into bigger dreams and goals that I have, which I'll talk about in a minute. But for Heft Leather and Saddlery, which is never going to go away for the rest of my life, as far as I'm concerned, you know, you never know, but knock on wood, this is sticking around for at least my lifetime. But the goal is, for me being here in Connecticut, is to be what I call an ambassador of the American West. So to back that up a little bit, back in March of 2024, I traveled to Waco, Texas with same friends, and we all got certified as horseback riding instructors through the Certified Horsemanship Association. And that trip to Texas, kind of, I don't want to exaggerate on it, but it kind of changed my life. You know, there was I'd never been that far west before. Texas is obviously a huge, you know, Lone Star cowboy state, and that's what I was going there to do, right? I wasn't going there for you know, for tourism. I was there to you know, to work horses, and so that definitely changed my outlook on kind of a lot of things, but it made me realize what life is like out there, in a Western state, Western environment, that culture, those people, that kind of thing. And you know, it's something about it captivated me, not to the extent where I want to go and move to Texas, but in the extent where I want to do the opposite. I want to bring Texas, or the spirit of the American West, as I call it, into Connecticut. And Western culture, Western lifestyle is very popular right now, which is a mixed blessing, but still definitely a blessing. And I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to bring my part of it, my leatherwork, into Connecticut, and to share those products, that culture, all of that kind of thing. So that's very important to me, and it drives a lot of the branding and aesthetic and mission purpose, I guess, of my brand. But to put it shortly, and this is my I have this on my website and everything, this little statement, which is turning dreams into a reality in leather. I don't know if that's considered a brand statement or not. I don't know. I'm just a leather worker. But that's the idea, is I'm turning dreams into a reality in leather. I'm not only am I taking my dreams, which again I'll talk about in a second, my long-term dreams and turning them into a reality through leatherwork. But I can also, again, this goes back to my custom work, I can also take your dream of something and turn it into reality in leather. So it's kind of got a twofold meaning there, where I'm turning my dreams into reality through leatherwork, and I'm turning your dreams of something you want out of leather into a reality as well. So the bigger dreams that I have for my long-term future, I consider Heft Leather and Saddlery to be a stepping point or a cornerstone of that, where I'm going to build on top of it. So this is my first business that I've ever run, and I'm making lots of mistakes, but I'm learning, and I really enjoy doing this. I'm learning how to run a business, and that's going to definitely help set me up for the next business I want to start someday, which is to have my own farm, to have my own horse farm, doing riding lessons and you know, all that kind of thing. And it sounds like a pretty typical horse business or farm business on the surface, but there's a lot more that I don't have time to go into in this video right now. But there's a lot more that I want to harness that goes back to sharing that culture and that spirit of the American West and bringing it to Connecticut. And most importantly, above all, is to bring forth the kingdom of heaven to my corner of the earth, which in this case is the leatherworking Connecticut horse industry. So that is kind of it. You know, that's the whole story there, where but that's my dream. Is I've got this business that I started almost by accident, it feels like, but I've taken it, I've grown it with intention. It's a seed that God gave to me, that I've planted and nurtured, and He's nurtured in me. And we're going to take this, we're going to see how far we can run with it. We're going to turn dreams into a reality in leather, and I'm going to be an ambassador for the American West, and we're going to bring forth the kingdom to every corner of the earth. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble in my story time here. But thank you to everybody who's ever supported me in any way on this business. Everything means so much to me, and now you kind of know after watching this video truly what it means to me and what your support is going towards. It's not just me in my parents' basement banging on some cowhide all day. You know, I'm working towards something here, and I appreciate everybody who's helping me out. So thank you guys, and I will see you all in the next video.